What's up everybody, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel, bringing you guys another video on Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. In today's video, we're going to be doing another Conquering Lufenia episode, this time for the upcoming Lufenia fight for the Exdeath Lost chapters, featuring the return of the two Dwellers. But before we talk about that, if you guys are brand new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. That way you guys are not missing out on future uploads. And if you guys enjoy what you see on this channel, be sure to hit that like button and share this video, as it does help me out. Don't forget to check out the Tonberry Troops website, in particular their guides portion, where you could find the Lufenia research portion of their website. Here you will find comprehensive guides on each and every coming Lufenia fight, how to deal with the orb, what characters to bring, and which boss abilities to look out for. Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the Lufenia fight for the upcoming Exdeath Lost chapters against the two Dwellers. Alright guys, so we're going to be taking a look at this Lufenia fight for the Exdeath Lost chapters in Global Opera Omnia. It's going to be featuring two bosses that we're fairly familiar with, which are the two Dwellers. Their gimmick, if you guys don't remember, is they're going to be switching off this yellow aura, and if you break the one with the yellow aura, they're going to be using a counter attack that will deal brave damage, and it's going to be dealing HP damage, and it likely might KO that party member. Now, it's not always a guaranteed hit whenever they do this counterattack, but the thing is, if your party member does take the damage, there's a very high possibility that you will die. So that's pretty much their gimmick. For the Lufenia fight, we have a few things that we want to take a look at. First of all, the orb. So the orb appears at the 79% HP threshold, starting off at a 15 count. The way to increase the count by 10 is either by utilizing sap or poison damage. So any type of effects that produce this, for example, Exdeath has this, Shantoto has this, Alphinaud has this with his aura. You can also utilize certain spheres that provide you this type of an effect, but pretty much if you allow them to take their turn while the orb is active and they take that damage, they will be increasing the count of the orb by 10. Another thing to note is that they are immune to the blind debuff, so unfortunately, we cannot blind them in order to deal with that counterattack if you guys really want to get aggressive with the fight. Now, in terms of being aggressive with the fight, it is very possible, and you could definitely do this if you have the means to do so, by paralyzing them and then afterwards delaying their turns. Because the thing is that if you paralyze them and they're at that 80% HP threshold and they're still paralyzed, and you delay them, for example with Cloud is a very popular delay character now with his Blade Beam from his LD, and then they hit that 79% HP threshold, the orb will just never appear. So you can just do that and actually just brute force this entire fight. Now, again, you want to watch out for that yellow aura, and they're going to be swapping this back and forth 3 times before they actually stop doing it. And then what you can actually do is take a counter character, a character that utilizes traps. So, for example, like you could take 8, who 8's counter attacks. If they do break the yellow aura target, it's not going to trigger that counterattack. Another character that can really trivialize this fight is Firion, because Firion's traps do happen after the enemy's turn, and if they happen to break the yellow aura target, it's not going to trigger it, and you're also going to benefit because Firion's trap will heal you and will also provide you some brave. So there's a lot of different ways to be able to deal with this fight. Another thing that you want to watch out for is that they will gain a white aura during certain HP thresholds, and what happens is that they will have a massive brave damage reduction, which again is becoming a theme with all these Lufenias, and they will also be recovering a lot of brave. So characters, for example, like Exdeath can really deal with this because Exdeath does have the gravity effect. So you want to make sure to try to at least have a character that can use kind of like gravity effects. So Exdeath is good for that. You could also aim to use a Miditelian if you have a Miditelian built up, because a Miditelian does have that effect with their LD ability. So that's also another character that you can consider taking. So characters that are really good in terms of talking about which characters to take: Exdeath and Shantoto, fantastic for this. Exdeath has the gravity, has the HP poison, has the sap. Shantoto has the poison, can also paralyze with her LD. And then afterwards, taking Cloud. Cloud is a very popular character right now because he's very strong with a lot of high utility. You could use him for paralysis as well as the launches, as well as the delay. Again, it is very possible for you to just avoid the orb entirely, just paralyze them, make sure they never take their turn, and then afterwards, when they hit that 79% HP threshold and they're still in that paralyzed state, the orb is just not going to appear, and it's possible to do that. that. If you actually want to mess with the mechanic and like kind of give yourself a little bit of a challenge to actually deal with the mechanic, I recommend taking some tanks. For example, if you take Warrior of Light and Firion together, they're both synergy for this. They kind of trivialize the fight too, because Warrior of Light has his shields and Firion does have his healing and his traps. Gladio is also good for this too, because Gladio will just jump in and take the damage for your characters, so that is something that you can also consider. If you want to, give yourself a little bit more of a challenge and like, deal with the incoming HP attacks while at the same time, messing around with the orb. You could also use characters such as, like, let's say Porom could actually be good for this too. She's great because she has the HP damage mitigation. She could also heal you and also provide, a little bit of clutch in a pinch. You could also aim to use characters that have maybe like HP attack silence. For example, Arciela could potentially work for this, or Kefka could also work for that too, especially during the portion where they have the white auras. So then that way you actually have some really strong debuffs on them. Kurasame could also be a good option because Kurasame has that increased HP damage that the party can deliver if you with his debuff, the Hyodo debuff. So there's a lot of different options that you could use for this fight, especially because the only thing you got to worry for is the immunity to the blind debuff. So a lot of flexibility. Again, just watch out for that orb. If you do decide to deal with the orb, just make sure you have characters that have some kind of like a sap mechanic or a poison mechanic. And then if you decide to just brute force it, just take Cloud if you have his LD. Get that paralysis on there. There's numerous ways and different options now that we have to inflict paralysis, and just keep delaying them and prevent them from taking a turn, because again, it is very possible to just straight out brute force this fight and never worry about the orb at all. Alright guys, well hopefully this info helps you guys in preparation for the upcoming Lufenia fight for the Exdeath Lost chapters. Thank you guys again for watching. This is 40 the Broadway Saiyan signing out. Mahal everyone.